As many of you were coming here, there's one essential object that you used, which is very common in many households. This is an object that is mostly used by women. If you're wondering what is this object, don't think too much. It's just a mirror. Most of us use the mirror to see our true selves because the mirror never lies. Now imagine going to the mirror, seeing your face, and you later come to realize that isn't actually your face, but someone else. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out. We all knew how we looked like the first time we came across a mirror and saw our face. Now imagine since you're a child, all the mirrors around you lied to you and showed you a face that's not yours. Sounds crazy, right? Speaking of mirrors, we have a common Tanzanian saying in Swahili saying that msanii ni kioo cha jamii. An artist is a mirror of the society, meaning an artist, through an artist we get to know where he's from and get to understand his community. Meaning art as in itself has the power to influence the society. And that's why most artists are termed as influencers, ambassadors, so they could influence people. Now, I recently came to know who I am and know what my face actually looks like because all the mirrors lied to me. And when I talk about the mirror, I am talking about the TV. I grew up in a small town in northwestern Tanzania called Kibondo. And we were raised by a father. Unfortunately, my mother passed away when I was just 7 years old. Kibondo was a small town that was underdeveloped and gained sudden attention after refugees from Rwanda, Burundi, and the DRC came to Tanzania, and a lot of refugee camps were established around there, meaning a lot of NGOs, including the NGO that my father worked for, had to move to Kibondo. Kibondo being a small town, there wasn't really much to do. So as a child, one of the favorite things I enjoyed doing was watching TV. Of course, in an African home, you don't watch TV all the time, but every time I would watch TV, I would enjoy it. And most of the content I was watching on TV were Western, from America and Europe. I remember watching films like Matilda, Mrs. Doubtfire, Home Alone, and I loved them. And mind you, back then, when I talk about these movies, we were watching them through VHS. Yes, before the SD cards, the streaming platforms, we used to watch stuff on VHS. My father had cameras and he loved to film family moments, and sometimes would even take us to the refugee camps and would watch him capture these stories. And when we come back home, he would preview that footage on this same TV. And that is when I saw myself on TV because he had filmed the family moments and he was previewing it. This is when I developed a passion for content creation and storytelling. Why? Because this was the first time I am seeing myself on TV. I am seeing my family members. I am seeing our house. I am seeing our streets. I am seeing the people that I could relate to and the places that I could relate to. And it would be such an entertaining moment because we would be watching the footage, we would laugh at each other. Back then when I was young, they would say that, I used to have a big head and big ears, so they would make bichwa ilo limepita. And when we watched that, it was such an entertaining moment to watch family laugh together and we enjoy this. It's not that we were not watching any Tanzanian content. We would watch some Tanzanian films, the famous one, Nkya, Shumileta. And to me, I would watch it and I would despise it and I would hate it. I would say like, what are we watching? This is not good, it's poorly produced, and etc. After having that moment to realize and seeing myself on TV, developed curiosity to know who I could become. I went on to high school. Just when I'm starting high school in 2012, I get a call from home that, Willie, your father has passed away. And it was a tough time because this means that I am now an orphan. Going to my father's funeral, you would hear people talk about nice things about your father, about my father. And of course, in funerals, people say nice things about you. But I was 17 by then, and then I'm hearing people sharing experiences they have had with my father. And I'm wondering, all the stories I'm hearing, my children or the generation that comes will never get to know the story of this great man who inspired me to do what I do today. And I remember one of the stories that I was really proud of my father. He was assigned and his team back then during the Rwanda genocide. Him and his team were able to retrieve about 900 bodies that were floating at the Kagera River. And this is an amazing story that I wish people to know, but they won't. After high school, I joined university and I was studying a bachelor's degree in logistics and transport management. It sounds nice, right? And I sound serious. I loved the course. But at the same time, I had this passion in me. So I started exploring other stuff. And I volunteered to become a writer at a lifestyle blog. As a writer, young writer, I didn't really know anything about writing. I was pushing more stories, and I was writing stories about people in an angle that portrays them and celebrates what impact they're doing in whatever they're doing, especially in the lifestyle and fashion industry. And I would get really great reviews despite my terrible writing. People loved the story because a lot of the content that was there about them was around gossip and etc. At the same time, I love TV, so I auditioned to become a TV presenter. And I got a chance to be part of a new TV show. Unfortunately, that show was still not well structured. So me and my co-host suddenly became producers because we started booking interviews, we started booking venues and etc. And little did I know, we shot about 5 demos, but they were all rejected in all the places we took it. This made me question, am I not good enough? Am I a terrible presenter? But no, it's the fact that the production quality of the show wasn't really matching the standards, meaning I need to sit down and learn proper content production. At the same time in college, I was part of a church, and together we were putting together a production at the National Museum Theatre, and we would invite young people from Dar es Salaam and many parts of Tanzania to showcase their talent. We showcased plays, dance performances, and many more. And all of us were volunteers from church, and this event was such a success that made me realize in order to produce something successful, you need to collaborate with people who are like-minded. Hence, collaboration is very important. It was a challenge balancing all this other stuff I'm doing in school, but I knew there was a point I was trying to make, and I graduated in 2017, and I'm glad I got really good grades. I got a GPA of 4.1, and this is to show that being in the creative industry doesn't mean you can't be brilliant at school. After graduation, I got a job as a sales representative. Mind you, I have a different degree and now I'm doing sales. I didn't like the job. At the same time, I'm trying to push this TV show that's not going anywhere. It starts to get overwhelming and I feel like giving up. Just at this point, I come across an opportunity that is looking for young, passionate filmmakers who are passionate about content creation. And they were looking for just 60 individuals across the whole African continent. I'm here, I see that's me, but I'm doubting myself. Here I am with a failed TV show. And I'm questioning, will I be able to compete with other African countries and be one of those 60 individuals? So I applied and I got selected. I started this journey about learning about proper film and TV production. Through this fully sponsored opportunity, we were able to learn both theoretically and practically. I could say that whole experience gave me 10 years worth of experience within just 1 year, because we made award-winning films, we made short films, we made TV shows, we even worked in some of the biggest productions here in Africa, like Coke Studio Africa. The program also was focused on training us on how to tell an African story. As its tagline, it was saying, igniting Africa's creative industry. After the program, I came back in the country, and me and my friends, we formed a company, a production company. We recently just produced our first feature film, and the film is called Frida. Frida is a story about a young Tanzanian girl who brings hope and change to her community. At first, I wouldn't see this as a story worth telling. But now, every time I look around, I see there are amazing stories we could tell. In producing this film, we worked with a crew size of around 30 to 40 crew members. And these were young, passionate filmmakers who together we were able to tell this Tanzanian story. Back then, I would despise Tanzanian content. I would think it's not worth of being in our screens. But today, I am glad a Tanzanian child is able to sit at home on TV and watch 100% Tanzanian content, because that is very important. I am glad to see the space now. We have dedicated channels like Maisha Magic Bongo, Cinema Zetu, that are pushing the agenda of telling our stories in great productions. We've recently seen a film of the struggles women go through here in Tanzania, becoming the first film to be acquired by Netflix, Binti. We've seen a Tanzanian story and Tanzanian novel being adapted into a film by a production company, making that film the first film to premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival. We're now even seeing the government is pushing the agenda and inspiring young filmmakers by starting a film award show, Tanzania Film Festival, which today also is the first night of the award show. Meaning today there's a space for us content creators and Tanzanian storytellers to tell our story. Because when you tell this story, you're inspiring someone. Today, I currently work at a digital storytelling company, Owner Stories, and we are pushing the agenda of helping people find and tell their stories. At the same time, we are pioneering new ways of telling stories because we believe stories should be told in the best format possible to reach that impact. Today, we're pioneering technologies like immersive technology and augmented reality, like virtual reality and augmented reality. Because like I said, we believe that a good story should be told in a great format. I urge you today, when you go watch any Tanzanian story, Tanzanian content, watch it in a point of appreciating people who are doing the effort to tell your story. Back then, I said I grew up with the wrong identity because I grew up with a Western influence and I believed in the Western culture and I despised the Tanzanian content, not knowing that that is who I am. That's why I said all the mirrors lied to me. I want us to take a moment and celebrate our stories. Of course, we sometimes think storytelling requires different gadgets and many gadgets because we think you need cameras and all that. But we have seen through recently the Black Lives Matter movement, it started after somebody who took their device, their mobile phone, and capture the event, and we have seen how much impact that has had. So I urge you, when you go back home, look at the stories around you and capture them, because you don't know how much impact that story would have to you and the people around you. So today's a memorable day. This is the first TEDx happening in Dar es Salaam, and I feel like it's something we should celebrate, right? So I am going to take out my phone, and I hope you guys will support me on this, yeah? So, all right, you guys ready? All right, let's roll. Hey guys, I'm the first ever TEDx event at the University of Dar es Salaam where young people are sharing ideas. Was it a great talk, guys? Yeah. Thank you very much.